Shelton sat at his kitchen table, staring at a final notice for his rent and a single jar of peanut butter. Having lost his job in a sudden layoff, he had spent weeks applying for positions with no response. That morning he prayed, not for a miracle check, but for the peace to keep his head up. An hour later, an old colleague he hadn't spoken to in 5 years called out of the blue. "I had a dream about you last night," the friend said. "I felt like I should check in. My firm is looking for a consultant for a 6-month project, and your name wouldn't leave my head. The project didn't just cover the rent, it launched Shelton into a new career as a freelancer."
Sarah was told her daughter's fever had peaked dangerously high, and the doctors were running out of ways to stabilize her. The hospital hallway felt cold and indifferent. Sarah knelt in the chapel, exhausted, simply saying, "She is yours." She felt a sudden, profound warmth, a physical sensation of being held. When she returned to the room, the monitor's frantic beeping had slowed. The nurse looked up, puzzled. The fever just broke. It dropped 3 degrees in 10 minutes. The recovery was a medical anomaly, but to Sarah, it was an answered plea for mercy.
A small fishing vessel was caught in an unpredicted gale. Matteo, the captain, watched as the waves threatened to capsize the boat. His crew was panicked, and the engine was taking on water. Matteo gripped the wheel and prayed for a great calm. Through the blinding rain, he saw a break in the clouds that revealed a jagged but safe inlet he had never noticed on his charts before. He steered toward it, guided by a strange, focused light from the moon that seemed to pierce through the storm. They reached the shore just as the engine died, saved by a harbor that felt like it had been placed there just for them.
After years of silence, David's son refused to answer his letters or calls. The bitterness of a past divorce had built a wall that seemed impenetrable. David stopped trying to fix it with his own words and instead spent a year praying for his son's heart, and his own. On a random Tuesday, David's phone rang. It was his son. "I was at a service today and the speaker talked about forgiveness," he said, his voice shaking. "I realized I've been carrying a weight I wasn't meant to hold. The reconciliation didn't happen overnight, but the door that had been locked for a decade was finally nudged open."
Clara struggled with a darkness that felt like a thick fog, making even the simplest tasks feel like climbing a mountain. She felt abandoned by God and herself. One night, at her lowest point, she whispered, "If you are there, show me a reason to stay." The next morning,